What's up, guys? Thank you for watching the video today. I really appreciate it. If you saw the title of this one, you know that the gun we will be shooting is the IWI Desert Eagle 44 Magnum. Now, they do make these in other calibers, but the one that I have is the 44 Magnum, so that's the one we're going to be shooting today. Now, a couple weeks ago, I did a video shooting this same gun, and at the end of the video, I tried to do a ballistics gel test. But I only had one gel block, and none of the 44 Magnum rounds that we shot stayed in the ballistics gel. So today I have a second gel block. Both of these are 20% clear ballistics gel, and hopefully we'll be able to trap some of these bullets in that second gel block. So I'm going to go ahead and set this camera up and we will get started. Alright guys, so the first bullet we're going to shoot is probably the cheapest one we're going to shoot today, the 240 grain CCI Blazer. This is a hollow point, and it actually looks like a soft tip hollow point as well. I'm not sure about that, I don't have the box out here, but let's see how it does. Alright, so our 240 grain Blazer went into the gel block. Looked like it had a pretty good temporary wound cavity there. Continued traveling down, went into our second gel block, and stopped right there. Now it doesn't look like it completely expanded. It did open up a little bit, but just didn't expand a whole lot. But it did stay in one piece. And it looks like it stopped right at about 19.5 inches into our second gel block. Alright, the next bullet we're going to shoot is the 240 grain Hornady XTP. Now this one says it's leaving the muzzle at about 1,300 feet per second, so it should do pretty well. Let's see how it does. Now, there was a lot more recoil on that one than the first one we shot. Alright, so our 240 grain Hornady went in a few inches below our first round we shot. I actually shot this bullet once before, the one you guys saw, and it went into the exact same wound channel as our first bullet. That's why the wound channel on the Blazer looks a lot bigger now. But I wanted to go ahead and redo it so that we could see the separate wound channels and see how it did. So, it went into the gel. Had a good temporary wound channel, probably had a bigger temporary wound channel than the Blazer did, but since I shot the Hornady directly into the same path as the Blazer before, it's kind of hard to tell now, but we'll be able to tell on the video. It went in, it looked like it broke apart a little bit. I'm not sure if you guys can see that, but there are bullet fragments in there, and continued traveling down the gel, dipped down a little bit, kept going, and stopped on the very bottom of the gel block. This one completely expanded, mushroomed out all the way. We didn't lose really any of the bullet except for the few little fragments that are in the front, but it expanded perfectly and stopped at about 23.5 inches into our gel blocks. Alright guys, so the third and final round we're going to shoot is the 225 grain Hornady FTX round. You can see that this one has a red tip on the bullet, like a lot of Hornadys do, and this one says it's leaving the muzzle at about 1,400 feet per second. So this is the fastest one we've shot so far today. So let's see how it does. Now I've shot these before in this gun, and they cycle just fine, but the first round that you try to chamber, it gets hung up a lot of the time. I'm not sure why that is. A lot of 44 Magnums are made for revolvers and lever guns and stuff like that. They're not really made for semi-automatic pistols, but yeah, once you get to shooting these, they work just fine. It's just the first round in this particular gun gets hung up sometimes. So we'll see if that does that right here, but this should be a pretty impressive round in this gel. Let's see how it does. Yeah, see? Hung up. I don't know why it does that almost every single time I try and chamber a round. Alright, that first one kind of took a right turn and left our gel block, so I'm going to try it one more time, see how it does this time. Alright, it might be kind of hard to see because there are so many rounds so close together in here, but you see that red tip from the bullet right there that came off, and that is by far the biggest wound channel out of the 3 rounds we've shot so far. It went into the gel block right about the same spot as a couple of the other ones we shot, but you can see that the wound channel from that one is much larger than the other 2 that we shot, and just a giant temporary wound cavity that really opened up in there. Now, the bullet itself traveled down the gel block, left the first gel block, and stopped right there in our second gel block. This one definitely expanded all the way as well. It looked like it turned around backwards, which is no big deal. Bullets do that all the time. But expanded and came to a stop inside our second gel block. And the FTX round stopped right at 23 inches. So pretty similar to the 240 grain XTP that we shot. Alright, these are the 3 bullets that I dug out of the gel in the order that I shot them. This one here is the 240 grain Blazer that we shot, and as you can see, it didn't really flatten out very much. It did expand and open up, but didn't really flatten out like the other ones did. Nonetheless, it went super far into the gel and would definitely get the job done. The second one we shot is the 240 grain XTP round, and this is probably my favorite one out of the 3, just because of the way that it mushroomed like that and it really flattened out. It's also super heavy. I mean, it retained every bit of the weight in that bullet, and it's just a super heavy round that did very well. And the third one that we shot, the 225 grain FTX round, had a little bit of deformation, but also expanded very well. Didn't quite flatten out as much as the XTP round, as you can see, but did expand and performed very well also. So all 3 of these are impressive in my opinion. It's just the first one here didn't really expand and flatten out like the other 2 did, but you would expect that because these 2 here are probably, you know, twice the price of this one. Well, that's going to do it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. The Desert Eagle 44 Magnum is one of my favorite guns to shoot, and it's just a really impressive gun that shoots a very powerful bullet. And obviously this isn't like a concealed carry gun or nothing like that, but now that I got a second gel block, I just wanted to see how well these 44 Magnum rounds would do, and all 3 of them were really impressive in my opinion. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up for me. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.